Let's do A Case of Spring Fever. I'm not sure what this is about, but it's from 1940. So it's even earlier than the other ones.
No, I'm sorry, but Gilbert won't be able to play with you boys till later this afternoon. He's doing some work for me.
Springs. I hope I never see another spring as long as I live.
So, you never want to see another spring, eh? Okay, mister, I'll fix it so you get that wish.
Oh, God. Is this gonna be the It's a Wonderful Life of spring PSAs? It's gonna talk about how important springs are in everyday products.
Who are you?
The name's Coily. Coily the Spring Spike, they call me.
Was there like a need for a PSA to teach people about how important industrial springs are? What? Why? Who cares?
I heard your wish, and, well, you're gonna get it. No more.
He's finally had a mental break. After years of lead poisoning and PTSD from the war. Actually, this is 1940. He's about to go to the war. Actually, you know what? No, he's old enough. He probably fought in World War I. The PTSD mixed with the lead poisoning from the springs on his couch have led to him to finally having the mental break. The Luddite movement.
More springs for you from now on.
Was that like a real thing? Was there like a movement in like the 40s and 50s of people to be like, I don't like all this industrialization and modern convenience? Lame.
No springs.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
No springs.
MMO addicted with 10 bits. Yep, same as nowadays. 5G makes the frogs gay and the mark of the beast. But like with springs? Who looks at industrial springs and goes like, this is the mark of the devil? It's just like coiled metal. What?
No springs.
His car's not gonna work.
Hey, the door.
There's nothing funny about the tools.
No springs.
MMO addicted with 10 bits. People used to say fridge ice will poison you. My grandma thought that if women answers a phone, she'll become barren. God, people are stupid.
No springs, my friend. No springs.
This horrifying spring goblin is my favorite character in all of fiction. Okay? Doctor Who? I don't care. Spring Man is my new god, okay? Oh. feel like that's more of a latch issue than a spring thing. No springs! No springs!
No springs!
I'm gonna be Spring Goblin for Halloween. No springs!
Oh, gee, Coily, I didn't realize what I was wishing. I'm sorry for everything I said. Can't we call the whole thing off? Isn't there anything I can do? Please let me take back my wish.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capital.
Spring Goblin is a merciful god. You may have your springs.
Well,
I'm MMO addicted. First yesterday's alien head, now this. No
There's nothing funny about the tools
springs!
of capitalism.
How am I supposed to sleep now? On my bed with no springs! You'll bow before the spring gremlin? We all do, obviously.
okay.
This look at even my microphone. My microphone stand. Springs, okay? The spring demon has power over us all. I think we need to just realize this.
Hey, I'll do it just this once. But next time, be careful. Don't ever make that wish again.
That's your one warning from the spring demon! Everybody gets one! Warn your friends! MMO addicted with 10 bits. I'm making this a D&D monster now, the bane of artificers.
There's nothing funny about the tools of
This
capitalism.
is obviously a version of Mr. Mixzplick from a Spring universe. Oh god, I can never I mean, this is the point, but I can never pronounce Mr. Mixzplix. Mixelzixplix. Mr. Mixelzixplix. Tatsuyo Dragneel, if people didn't think springs were satanic, this spring demon probably did. True. Mixelplix. Mr. Mixelplix? Doesn't look like that.
You see, fellows, the scientific principle of a spring is to absorb energy and then to release it. That's all there is to it.
Too bad, Joe.
Yeah.
He has absorbed the power of the spring.
Nice shot.
Yes, it was. But if it wasn't for the amount of spring in the club shaft, combined with the spring of the rubber inside the ball, that drive wouldn't have gone anywhere at all.
He's a devotee of the cult of spring now.
You see, all spring action depends on...
This is like a lost H.P. Lovecraft story where he's gonna slowly convert all his neighbors into loving everything spring-related. The Spring Lantern Corps.
elasticity, the ability of material to return to its original form after it's been forced out of shape. You know, like the action of a springboard. And when you stop to think about it, even the ground, the earth is like a huge spring. It has the ability to absorb a blow and then transmit the shock from one point to another. And that's exactly what a spring is supposed to do. Transmit shock from one point to another. Okay, but let's get
Prototype Mr. Fantastic.
on with the game. You don't realize the number of springs that work for us every day. Why, there's a little
going
spring in the
on?
cigarette lighter,
There's no way he's getting invited to golf anymore. He's just not.
and the spring in your pencil clip, and the huge springs that cushion the railroad trains. Why, I could name thousands of everyday uses for springs.
Don't bother.
I never realized until lately that springs have such a universal use. Why, there's springs in mouse traps,
A demon came to my house and made the universe without springs, and now I know.
guns,
And that's how Larry got lobotomized.
Exercisers, hinges, pogo sticks. Why, it's practically impossible to name a single thing in which some sort of spring isn't essential, in one way or another. Take that plane up there, for instance. It's got a set of shock absorbers on the wheels that depend on heavy springs controlled by a hydraulic arrangement. When the ship lands, the springs ease the shock so much you can't even tell when you're on the ground. And as far as an automobile is concerned, why, I wouldn't even attempt to tell you how many various kinds of springs are used, in addition to the springs and shock absorbers. Good. You know, the trouble with people like you guys is that just because most springs are usually hidden, you seldom think of the important part they play in the regular operation.
This spring encounter has ruined this man's life.
And enjoyment of our cars. For instance, just take those springs I mentioned a while ago. The springs that are built under the car to provide complete riding comfort. Spiral coil springs in the knee action in front balance the weight of the car with soft leaf springs in the rear, so that the body always rides along on an even keel. Can you imagine what it would be like riding along a rough road like this without those special springs? And then, too, the springs and the seat and back cushions take up any other little bumps that get through to the body of the car. Yes, sir, as far as riding comfort is concerned, the tires, the cushion springs, and the special springs under the car all combine to give us a ride that can't be topped. Hey, Joe, wake up. Wake up, fellows.
Well, that didn't take long.
You played a great game, boy, but you lost. What you need is a little more spring in the old...
Very funny. You and your springs. I hope I never see another...
Stop! Don't say it.
You'll summon the Dread God! No! You mustn't say the words!
Don't ever wish anything like that as long as you live.
No springs! No springs! That's a good one. My goodness. That was
There's nothing
an
funny about the
all-timer
tools of
right there.
capitalism.